Okay folks, here we are back once again with this Compaq. This is the I think it was the SR5223WM, the Walmart special. You can see I've gone ahead and cleaned up the front panel there, make that look all nice. But now I got to do some other cleaning on the inside of this. Okay, apologies for the noise. Kinda gotta talk over it now. Got the cover off. You can see that's what's in there. All the noise and the dirt and dust and junk. Well, I guess that is the noise too. But that's not in this computer. So I'm gonna take this fan out completely because I know that it's no good. I'll be replacing that, and we might do some upgrades on this. I haven't decided yet, but I gotta wait for the air compressor to charge up, and then we can clean this out. Okay, now the last time I used my air compressor, I had to re-Teflon it, and I haven't done that yet, so we'll see if this works. Hopefully it does. That's not too bad. I'm sure if I let go of it, it works, but... Okay, so here it is. Made a remarkable recovery. Looks clean again. Now, I'm gonna have to install this fan here. That's no big deal. So we now have a new fan in the back of the case. Heatsink's nice and clean. Before I continue, I have certainly had people comment on my videos where I use the air compressor and clean out fans with it. They're like, OMG! You're going to cause a current to go through the fan and burn out your motherboard. That's another one of those really stupid things, one of those myths that the computer industry likes to perpetuate. It's like those anti-static bags that people love to say. They'll conduct, you can't put things on top of them, it'll conduct electricity on them. That's not how anti-static bags work. Just the same, that's not how fans work. I mean, yes, you can, it will certainly happen. You can use motors as generators, but any halfway decent, respectable motherboard is going to have protection against outright stupidity like that. And I've never had a fan give me a problem like that. And I've been doing this for years. So, get off my lawn. Yes, upgrades. So, microprocessor will probably leave alone. I don't think I've got much in my collection that I can upgrade that with, although I may have a look around, see if I can find some better things, because I could probably find something a little bit better than a 4000 plus Athlon 64. I assume anyway that is, what is the socket? It's not 939, AM2 is the socket. I'm guessing, but I don't actually know. Now, what RAM is in here? I know it's got 2 gigs of memory. Whose memory is it? Oh, of course, it's got to be Samsung memory, which is not a match to anything that I've got. This is what I got sitting out here. It's all PC2 5300. So it's all basically the same. These chips are actually a little bit different. Now, are these... Yes, so those are the... they've got chips on both sides of the memory module. Up to 4 gigs, which is the maximum that it'll probably ever take anyway, because I think it's running 32-bit Windows. And I have no intention of putting 64-bit on this. So we'll do that. We'll run this thing. I'm going to also go ahead and make the backup disks, which I will be archiving. And once I've done that, I'm going to replace the hard drive and restore from the backup. Because I'm going to upgrade the hard drive as well. I've got some 500 gig drives sitting around, and I figure, why not use some of them? So that's what we'll do. Okay, got the memory upgrade installed. There's a dent in the top cover that I did not know was there. But there's not much that I can really do about that. So, some fans there, got the memory upgrade installed. Let's go ahead and give this thing a try and see if it works. Okay. Power applied. Okay. Beeping. Yeah, that's a memory issue. So it very clearly does not like that upgrade. Well, let me fight with it, I guess. Well, that was entertaining. It just goes to show you the kind of fun that you can have with these computers of this age. You have to play memory module bingo in order to get them to actually function sometimes, and even when you do get them to function, which I managed to do with these two modules here, they're both 2 gigabytes in size, PC2 6400, but the computer only sees it as PC2 5300. Now, I don't know if that's a limitation of the actual computer itself. There, by the way, is the model, SR5123W. It's actually a WM. I said like 5213 before in the video, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. One of these cheap Walmart computers. So, another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually pull that modem, because that's pretty useless. And I've got a wireless card sitting around here somewhere that I can go ahead and throw in here. That it's not doing anything, it's just sitting around, so I can give it something to do. So we'll do that, we'll boot this thing up into Windows, hopefully it's stable, and then we'll go ahead and we'll make our backup disks and change that hard drive. Okay, here are the old experience index scores. The only thing that might change is the memory score, and I don't really think that it will, because I think that the speed limitation is motherboard related. Unlike on Windows 7, you have to go through the entire process with this. Although it's also using onboard video, so maybe it is smart enough that it'll only run the assessments that it needs to run. I don't really think so, though. Okay, looks like Windows Vista is being Windows Vista. It didn't update anything at all, and it still says that there's new hardware detected, so I don't know what that's all about, but Symantec is also complaining down here. It probably wants me to... You received this version of Norton Internet Security with the purchase of a PC. Do not care. Exit. Alright, so let's get started with the backup process. Okay, come in here. PC help and tools. Recovery disk creation. Okay, next. A set of recovery disks has been created for this PC. Only one set is allowed per PC. Wonder how I could bypass that. Okay, so what I had to do, now the instructions said to delete a file from here called hpcd.sys, which I don't have. What I had to do was I had to go into this recovery partition here and delete a file, which you can see is no longer there, titled hpcd.sys. Now, where did the thing go that I was just looking at? There it is. For whatever reason, it doesn't actually show up down here. I can get rid of this. I don't need that. And you can see here, insert a blank recordable disc now. If you use a CD, which apparently you can actually do, you need 16 CDs. We're going to use some dual layer discs, because that's what I happen to have sitting around. That's not RW media. I really should have opened this before even starting this process. Now this is DVD plus R media. I don't know if it'll actually work in this particular drive. I guess we'll find out. Insert the first blank disc and press next. Well, I guess it's not going to let me press next until it knows that there's a disc there. Which hopefully it will see at some point here. Yeah, here we go. Close that, we'll hit next. And then, you inserted the following type of disc. You'll need 2 of these to continue. Well, I certainly have plenty of those. I probably actually have 16 of them. Maybe even more, just sitting right there. We'll hit next. And now it is creating discs, it looks like. So hopefully, this process will actually complete successfully. But yeah, if you run into that situation, I wouldn't guarantee that the way that I removed that one file and managed to get to the point, I wouldn't guarantee that it'll work for everybody, because I saw all manner of different possible methods to doing this. So, it probably depends on the computer, but at the very least, I managed to get mine to work. And I will be backing up these discs. So, like I said, I guess it doesn't really matter. I'll be archiving these and making them available. So if you happen to need them, you'll be able to get your hands on them. Yeah, it's doing something. Or at least it was. I suppose it still is. It's now gotten to the point of writing to the disk. Hopefully it doesn't fail. Be a good test of this optical drive, make sure that it actually works. Okay, my battery's about to run out, but we are now making the second disc. There's the first one. And what I'm going to do, once this is done, I'll take these inside, I'll image the discs, and then I'm going to burn another set, and I'm going to use that second set to actually do the restore. Because that'll tell me whether or not I can just reburn these willy-nilly, or if that's just a waste of time. Okay. Click Next. Your system disks were successfully created. We'll finish, and at this point, you should be able... Bootable Hardware Diagnostic CD Creator. We highly recommend creating... well, I guess we might as well do that. Insert a blank CDR. Okay, well, I guess I'm getting a CD now. While we check for a valid disk, it says. Well, you asked for a CDR. I gave you a CDR, so I don't know what more you want. Come on. Maybe my luck has run out with this optical drive. Oh, there it goes. Click on Start to proceed. Seriously? You can't just do it yourself? Hopefully that goes by a little bit faster. Seems like it did. Wonder if it'll ask me to create any more disks. Created successfully. Alright. We'll close that. Let's see what the computer does next, because I was going to shut it down. Is anything else running? Is it still running anything? I don't think so. I think we're done. Hopefully we're done. But, yes. So I'll take that disk out, and I'm going to go ahead and shut down the computer. We'll go inside and we'll make our backup copies. Uh-oh. Well, things were going well. Not sure why it's having a problem, because it verified just fine. Probably that optical drive having issues. Would not be surprised. Okay, I've got my backup set, which was mostly successful. I was able to get disk 2 backed up, but after I put it into another drive, and when I tried to burn it with the original drive, which is on my main rig, it decided it did not want to verify, so I guess we'll find out if this actually works. So, let's see. Oh crap. I wanted to change the hard drive first, didn't I? Yes, I did. Because I wanted to actually upgrade it. And if this doesn't work out, and I can't get either of those 2 sets of backup disks to work, at least I still have the original drive, which has got what, as far as I can tell, is a pretty factory install build anyway. So we got this here, 500 gigabyte, 7200.12. Quite a bit newer than the machine itself. At some point in the future, I may upgrade the CPU, and I may also change out this power supply. But for the time being, I don't really have anything sitting around that's going to be any better than this anyway. And I forgot to actually look through my set of power supplies. And I also forgot to look through my set of CPUs, but I'm pretty sure I've got like a 4800 plus sitting around that I believe that this would support. So, I don't know, maybe we got some more upgrades down the pipe here. So here is the drive cage. As it turns out, so you can see there is actually a little latch that you have to push in, which I was not aware of. It is right there, my little thing. I don't know if the other ones actually had that. I don't think they did. Or if they did, it was broken. But, gotta get this existing drive out. The new drive is 5 years newer than this one. So that's interesting. There is the new drive. And here's the old one, which kind of makes me suspicious. Well, maybe not so much suspicious, but kind of curious here. 320 gig, 7200 RPM, so no difference there. But this claims to be a SATA 3 gigabit per second drive, and yet you can see it's got a legacy power connector on it, which, from my understanding, basically meant that this was a bridged parallel ATA design, in that internally this is a parallel ATA hard drive, and it has some kind of translation logic, either in that massive chip right there, or maybe it's a smaller one over here, that translates from serial ATA to parallel ATA. And those were early drives, basically roughly converted ATA 133 drives to run SATA 1.5. So I don't know how they can get away with calling it a SATA 3 gigabit per second drive, but there it is. Or I guess there it was. I'm going to put it away, put this in the computer, power it up, and try and restore here. Okay. I want a boot menu. Loading boot menu. Okay, there it is. Now, let's open up that optical drive and insert disk number 1 here. I don't know if this is bootable or if I have to boot using the bootable diagnostics disk. But let's see what it does. I don't know what's on this hard drive, if anything. It might be blank, but it might not be. Well, something's happening. Yep. Here we go. Windows is loading files. That is a good sign. Fortunately for me, the product key is very easily visible. It's on the side of the computer that I can actually see. See if it gets through that. Keep in mind, of course, this is the backup copy. Sounds like somebody's home. Okay, well that's a slightly different Windows Vista. Yeah, here we go. Use this program to recover your computer to its original factory condition. Factory image. Yes. So, now I guess we just let that do its thing. Hasn't gotten very far, and it's been like 20 minutes. And I'm kind of wondering about that. It says reformatting the hard drive. But yet, here it is, accessing the optical drive, and clearly transferring data off of that. So, I guess maybe that step is more than just reformatting the hard drive. Maybe it's the Windows portion of the install. I don't know. Well, the weather has certainly gone to crap today. Look at the snow. You know, I had the car out not that long ago, and now it's covered. Anyway, speaking of covered, crap, wherever this thing, I've actually had to change my plan. I had to go to the other set of discs because last night it locked up at 8%. This might be even worse, because it seems to be stuck at 0%, and it's been going at that for a couple hours now. So, I am almost tempted to just say forget it. Put the old drive back in there, and just make a clone, and then run the factory restore that way. Because this is a little insane. I don't know what is going on here with this. Of course, other things that we're going to do is I've got this particular CPU right here, which apparently represents the largest that I've actually got in my collection of Athlon 64s at this point. I think I've used up all the other ones. This is a 4400 plus. So, minor upgrade from what's in there. I've also got some power supplies that I'll go ahead and I will also put in here. I don't know what this thing is doing though. It's kind of crazy. Okay, you can see I pretty much gave up on that. So I'm going to take this 500 gigabyte hard drive out, put the 320 back. There's no real reason for me to keep this in here anyway. And I've changed the CPU actually already, so it's now got a 4400 plus in it. No idea if it works. I guess we'll find out here in a minute. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this power supply. Not that there's anything wrong with a high pro power supply. I think it puts out 250 watts. Model HP-D2537F3R. Like I said, yep, 250 watts. See right there, maximum power. But I got some better quality supplies, and like I said, and like I showed earlier, this one's not really well suited to this system anyway. I think I was just HP bleeding off old stock. It's only got a 20-pin power connector and no SATA power. So I got this here, which it's arguable whether or not this is any better, because it's only got 2 SATA, but I figure at the very least the optical drive can probably live with a Molex SATA, because I don't think there's enough length on this in order to get to both the optical drive and the hard drive. Yeah, there's definitely not enough length on that in order to do them both. So that's fine. I will have to pull out this because this was actually for a fan. This was in a system, one of those process cases, and I just simply went ahead and tossed the case, kept the power supply because there's nothing wrong with it. So we're going to go ahead and make these swaps here. Okay, we should be good to go now. I've got the CPU changed, obviously, and this is in the correct position. So this heatsink is going nowhere. I've got the old hard drive back in, all cabled up. New power supply is in place. I didn't even have to do too much in fact, I didn't even have to do any relocation of any of the wires. So it's almost like it was made for this case, which is funny because the case it came out of was a full-size ATX case. But, well, there you go. That's what happens when you put a micro ATX motherboard in a full-size case. When you go to put the power supply in a micro ATX case, it fits just fine, even though this one's upside down. So, I have to put the screws back in the power supply, and then we can power this up and see if it sends 6-foot flames flying across the garage. Alright, let's see what happens. Made the lights dim in here. That click was just the light on the garage door opener going out. Let's push power and see what happens. Aha! F10 to get into setup. Yeah, it's posting. That is a good sign, folks. That is a good sign. Okay, I need to put a new battery in that. Maybe I should do that before I put all this away. Both drives are detected. 4 gigs of RAM still there. There it is, 4400 plus. So, again, everything should be just fine. Make sure that Windows still boots. Certainly should. Default BIOS settings, just allow the PC to continue. I can live with the defaults, it'll be just fine. It is still Windows Vista, so I don't expect much in the way of performance improvements. In fact, I don't really expect any performance improvements, because there probably won't be any. Ask me later. So I'll have to go ahead and install more drivers on this. Here we go, 4400 plus, GeForce 6150 SE. Let's see if we can re-rate this. Again, those are the old scores, 4.8 on the CPU, 5.7 on the RAM. Let's see what happens. Okay, I don't know what that was all about. I had to run the assessment 3 times in order to get this to actually work correctly, but CPU went up 1 percentage point, or 1 score. The memory went up, I think it was at like a 5.7 before. I don't remember exactly, but there it is, and the graphics went up 1 score point as well. Gaming graphics stayed the same. So what I'll probably end up doing to this at some point is, again, trying to change the hard drive, and I'm going to take a different tack to it. Probably just clone the disk to a new one and call it a day. Do it like that. And then I'll probably also install a video card in here, because I've certainly got some cards sitting around, but I don't think they're really any better than the onboard video. I don't know what that card that's sitting right there is. I could probably look. But I don't think it's going to be better than the GeForce 6150 LE. So, I guess there's one thing. But, for now, there is a Compaq Presario SR5123WM, hot rodded, if you can call it that. Thank you for watching. And if you have any comments, certainly feel free to leave them down below. Yes, I know I didn't install the driver for the wireless. I'm going to wait until I get the video card installed in this. which, like I said, will probably happen at some point. I'm sure it will happen at some point.